Okay, well, happy February 6th. I can't believe we're on into February. And welcome back for Jennifer on the call tonight. And Jennifer has been a part of the posse all 2021 and got to go to Florida with Aaron and Kelly and I. So um, excited to have you back. And Jennifer lives in Minnesota and works at Target and has two girls that are awesome. So um, okay, well, I'm excited. So Rebecca is going to do more of the sharing tonight, and I always love what we learn from you, Rebecca. But let's definitely start with anything anyone wants to share that they're proud of or excited about.
Well, I would like to give a shout out to each of you who have applied for that Diamond Mastermind training thing, even if you're not quite at qualifications yet and are shooting for that February, was it February 20th? Well, I don't remember the actual date, February 20th-ish deadline for that, to qualify for that. Should definitely like to work with those coaches. I'm just like, wow. So if you have not looked into that, I would highly recommend you do that, and take advantage of that. And I think that's all I can say for right now, but stay tuned because it's going to be so big. It's going to be so big. But if you have not yet applied to that mastermind, go do it. Yeah. And then you have to bring all of your goodness back to our thread, because if we are a current diamond, we're not allowed in that group. So we're counting on you to bring it back to the thread.
Yeah. I also wanted to recognize Rebecca. So she's been mentoring Julie, I would say, and it's pretty neat. So Julie is just shared with a small group of us. Do you think it's okay to share, Rebecca? I think so.
I don't know. That's why I said I didn't know how much I could say.
Well, she just has big goals for our team this year. And I would just say that Rebecca is mentoring her in terms of sharing the success we're having in our mentorship here. And from what I gather, I feel like you're helping her learn how to lead with a warmer approach that's more rooted in culture and support versus achieving like Beachbody ranks and things like that. So I think that's pretty cool, and it was fun. More to come on that. We have a call, and I'm honored to be included in this little pod that we're gonna help Spartan Nation hit some big milestones this year in a really organic, positive way. So very cool.
And when you hear the announcement, I don't know when the announcement will be, probably in the next couple of weeks. But when you hear the announcement, I want every single one of you to know that you are a critical part of the reason that announcement is coming to light. Because if it had not been for this group and each of you inside of this message thread and these Sunday night calls, that announcement would not be being made. So you might see it as Julie announcing this thing, or however it's announced, I have no idea. But know that you are a very critical piece of that, which also means we're going to need you to be a very critical piece of that in the bigger, larger team of Spartan Nation. So yeah, it's been, yeah, I think it's going to be this is going to be my favorite year coaching yet from all of this that is about to come. So stay tuned. I hate doing this, but
I have a lot of uncertainty and vagueness here. I'm like,
I know. I hate doing
happening?
that. What I don't want. Here's what I don't want. I don't want you to hear the announcement and think that somebody stole an idea or took something or tried to take away from what we have here. And know that instead, I want you to hear the announcement and be proud of the fact that the reason that announcement is being made is because of you and the community and the culture and the connectedness that we've created inside of this mastermind pod and the transcendence we've done. It's not just Megan's personally sponsored coaches and my personally sponsored coaches and the way that we have created this space. And and the way that we get to use this space to mentor other coaches in our larger team of Spartan Nation, and the impact that's going to have, because we're going to be able to take what we're doing here and do something, like, quite frankly, do something that I never, ever, ever imagined would ever be a thing, ever. Yeah, those
Very
of you who
cool.
know probably know,
Okay.
but I just don't want anyone to hear the announcement and think, what? Like, they stole that. I want you to know that this is 100% collaboration and 100%
Yeah.
really truly coming from Megan and I. Instead of, if you hear it from Julie, it's not Julie saying, this is what we're going to do. It was truly a Julie coming to us and saying, what the hell are you guys doing? And me saying, let me share what we're doing. And she says, let's do it. Teach me your ways. So I want you to know that you guys are the reason that this announcement is coming, no matter how it's shared from the whole team.
Yeah, and we're not going anywhere, so we're not like ending our connections here either, as a result of it. But
Correct.
You know, it'll be in addition.
Thank God, because we'd kick your ass if you were.
Yeah. No.
Just saying.
Okay, so before Rebecca has the training for tonight and the inspiration, can I just share a few quick announcements, and then I'll hand back to you. But number one, I wanted to share for anyone that can come on the 15th, and Jennifer, if you can come from Minnesota, it would be so amazing. But I'm doing like a coach connection in my town, and have our own private yoga session planned, and then also like a happy hour at my home too. So I'm very excited for that, and that's a week from tomorrow. I mean, all of you are welcome. Sarah.
Will Nate be our waiter?
I actually purposely picked a night that he has an away game, so he's not giving me feedback on our volume or anything like that.
Okay.
Anyway, but I'm sure he'll make some good Shakio balls for us.
I love his balls.
Or his turkey meatballs or something, I don't know. But yeah, I'm super excited. And then also the next thing is, obviously we all have those Megan February 20 $20 off coupon codes. Sorry, I messed up the pricing a little bit in our thread, but I agree with what Rebecca said, like not necessarily advertising with that as your start, but it is a great opportunity to help new people that maybe weren't sure about the cost and things like that in the past, because they could get started with the basic package for $139, which is pretty awesome. And then I still think I'm having a bunch of people that are trying new things, and I think it's like a mixed bag. People are missing the 20-minute job one thing already. So I think that just goes to show how that those 20-minute workouts are a great option for the job one package still too. So I wanted to share about that. And then lastly, I just wanted to share, I'm doing a Tony Robbins program right now through KK. Rebecca, are you doing it too, or is anyone else doing that? I'm on week 2, but it is so good, and I have like fresh material, and I've been using it at Target, and it's just awesome. So anyway, I'm excited to continue to sprinkle that into this connection too on Sunday nights too. And it goes to show how you really never stop learning. It's crazy. So anyway, I can't wait to share that with you guys too. Okay, on to you, Rebecca.
All right.
Hi, Erin.
I am excited to hear more about this Unleash Your Power Within as you get more into it and share what your takeaways are. I loved KK when she did our little mini training thing, so I know you'll get a ton from that. All right, so tonight, this kind of a lot of what we just talked about, and then a call that I did with Josh Coates this week, and then a new book that I'm reading. All we're talking about the same idea. So I decided there's 3 different things that have the 3 different places the same idea has come up. It probably is worth sharing about. The book that I'm reading is The Buddha and the Badass. If you haven't read it, it's very, very good. My brother gave it to me. The dangerous thing about having a brother who's also into personal development is that we literally sit at all of our family gatherings and just talk about different personal development books. And big ideas, and the rest of our family's like, can you please just shut up? So for my birthday, he gave me this book, and because he's kind of in a different industry, he hears a lot of different titles that we don't always hear in our coaching circle. So I had never heard of the author or the book, but so far I'm obsessed with it. And the author hosts these like 21-day retreats in like these obscure places in the world, and it's basically just 21 days of straight personal development stuff. And him and I are already like planning to go. He said his wife told him that his boys have to be a little bit older, a little bit more independent. But after that, Kayla said, what? When is this? But anyways, it's a very, very good book if you are looking for a new personal development book. And the question kind of arose this week, and then the call with Josh Coates was all about the question of how do you stay motivated when like we hear a lot of how do you stay motivated when you aren't reaching your fitness goals, and we hear about it from that standpoint. But as a business owner, I don't think we talk enough about how do you stay motivated when things aren't flowing like they usually are, or when you set these goals for yourself and they don't happen like you expect them to, or people around you seem to be getting new clients and customers or building their business and you don't really feel like you're going anywhere. How do you stay motivated? How do you stay connected to what you're even doing here? It's really not motivation, it's really inspiration. Motivation comes from the outside. Inspiration is coming from the inside. So how do you stay connected to that piece without getting your energy so shifted? Because people are sensing your energy. So if your energy starts getting shifted and you start asking yourself questions like, well, why not me? And this isn't happening for me, and it just must be me. And this business is so hard, and this month is so hard, and this week is so hard, and blah, 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 blah. Whenever you're talking to people, they're feeling that energy. Like, why would somebody want to join your team or join your challenge group if you're bored, you think it's hard, you're struggling, right? Like, yes, we all have our own journey that we're going through, but how do you stay connected to that motivation or inspiration, whatever you want to call it, when things just are not, the reality isn't meeting up to your expectation, for lack of a better description. And so 2 of the quotes that I want to read from this book, and then the exact same thing he talked about was the exact same three strategies, I don't want to call them strategies, but I guess they are, that Josh Coates talked about, which I thought was interesting. But here's the first one. Greatness is best achieved with others. The world is too complex to strike it alone. People are drawn to you not because of your business plan or your products, your programs, your course, your blah, 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 but because your dreams give them hope. Humans are moved by emotion more than logic. The greatest gift you can give someone is to invite them to share in a dream. This is how you become magnetic and align yourself with the people you need to make any vision a reality. And then building onto that, you don't need to know how to achieve the outcome. Forget knowing how. All you need to know is your why and what for doing it. Then you share this with passion. The people you need will come to you, and they will bring the answers that you need, and usually much faster than you expect. And I think sometimes when we get in that headspace of, whatever, I don't have Success Club points in the board, I don't have this, I don't have that, I'm not this rank, I'm not qualifying, I'm not blah, 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 this person hasn't filled out their share card, this program didn't launch so well, this team seems to be doing so well, my team is not doing so well, blah, 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 whatever negative BS you're telling yourself. When we get into that headspace, we like automatically shift to, oh my God, I must word vomit on why Beachbody is the best and why my challenge group is the best and everything that's in my package. And now you get this $20 off thing. And all of a sudden we've lost sight of the whole reason why people want to be part of what we're doing. It has nothing to do with what's inside of our challenge pack, but what are we actually bringing to this? And so Josh Coates said 3 motivation hacks that you've probably heard before, but every time you hear them, you're going to hear something different. So these are not going to be brand new to you, but hopefully some of the questions that I pose to you give you something new to think about. So the first one he calls a life mission. And what he says is, what in this world do you feel so passionate about that you have to take action on? And then in the book, he calls this a a vivid vision or a manifesto. So what in the world, like what issue in the world do you feel so passionate about, so drawn to that you have to take action on it? And in the book, he encourages you to stop and journal about your biggest points of pain in your life. When in your life have you experienced the most pain? Because usually the reason that you experienced pain and then made a change about it, you want to create a space, a solution, a product, a plan, whatever, a business, so that someone else doesn't have to go through that pain. Or if they're going through that pain, you can help them through that pain. And so this is going to shift. And sometimes I think we get so caught up in, I have to have this vision for my life. I have to have this like mission, like, what am I doing? I have to have this great statement of like, I help women, da, da, da. We get so caught up in what that is. And then we're like, oh, well, let's look at this coach and this top coach and this, because of the coaches that we follow. And they seem to have their mission, like they know what they're doing, not realizing that they've probably gone through different points of pain than we have. So their mission isn't going to be the same as ours. So think about like why you're here, for example, like what brought you to Beachbody? What brought you to this team? Like there was a series of events in your life that brought you here. Those are part of the pain that you experienced. Part of the pain that you experienced is creating the culture that you want to create. So for example, for my own personal life, like I was unhealthy and would have stacks of clothes in my closet that I didn't want to wear anymore because I didn't feel confident in it. That's when I found the actual workouts of Beachbody, right? And then, okay, then that's my story that I'm sharing right there around Beachbody. And before I even had any idea what personal development was. And then as I went through Beachbody, I was like, okay, then there's this coaching thing that was initially just to save money. Okay, I could point to this pain point of around finances or around money. And then as through coaching, I left teaching. I resigned from teaching when my oldest daughter was born. And I told most people that I left teaching to be home with my daughter, to be able to be a stay-at-home mom with my daughter. The reality behind that was I was in such a toxic workplace, not because of my coworkers, but frankly, because I was a gay woman teaching in a conservative school district. I was teaching in Hamilton County, Indiana, uber Republican, uber conservative. And I did not feel safe. I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel safe. I felt like I was constantly hiding myself. But I also felt like if I didn't have coaching, I wouldn't have had an out. I wouldn't have had another opportunity. I would have had no other door, right? I was told that you would make a great teacher your whole life. So this is your path and this is what you're going to do. And I was the good girl who followed the path and went to undergrad and went to graduate school and still sat in that classroom like, what the hell am I doing? Right? Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I really love, but this is not how I want to live. Right? This is not okay. I'm not allowed to have pictures of my family in my classroom. I'm not allowed to tell anybody that I'm pregnant with a child because I'm not married to a man. Like, this isn't how I should be living. Right? And so had I not found coaching, and I would still be in that place, it's like, makes me emotional to even think about being there. And then, hello, shitstorm of education right now in Indiana. There are so many teachers that are feeling not the exact same way that I felt, but more like, this is not okay. This is not okay. And they feel like they have nowhere to go. And not just in education, there are so many women who feel like, I'm trapped. I have nowhere to go. And that's the pain point for me that I see in the world that I have to take action on. Women who feel like there's no other place for them to go, that they don't have another opportunity. And so when I was going back through my pain points, I don't talk about that enough. I don't share about that enough, mostly because I still feel so much pain attached to that. But that's so much more of a powerful story than you should join my team for some financial opportunity, right? You can join, have some income and have some accountability with your health and fitness. But if I told a story about the fact that had I not found coaching, I would be sitting in a classroom where no one knew who I was married to, or that I couldn't have children because a parent would bring me into the office and tell me how a terrible person I am and a terrible teacher I was. Like, that's not okay. And no woman should feel that way. And I know I'm not alone in that. in any type of situation. That was my specific example, but it could be any myriad of things, right? There are so many women sitting stuck in their life like, I have nothing else. And beyond any kind of opportunity to leave teaching, it brought me all of you guys, a group of women who got it, who understood. So when you think about what keeps me motivated when things aren't going my way, when my business isn't growing as fast as I want to, is that somebody created an opportunity for me. Somebody opened a door of opportunity for me that allowed me to leave a very toxic situation that had I not left, it would have made for a very different life. I can't shut that door. I can't shut that door on another woman. So what is it that causes so much pain in your life that you want to go after? And in Josh Coates' call, he talked about, maybe it's something like on the other side of the world, like water supply in this other part of the world, and you feel helpless, but you're so drawn to it. Okay, so if you're so drawn to this and you need finances to help this organization or help start an organization to do the clean water thing or do the building schools in this area or help sex trafficking victims in this area, your business is a catalyst for that. If you just hold on to that, if you just embrace the fact that this business is a catalyst to any mission that you have in life. And so my first piece for you is to seriously go through and think about the pain points in your life and think about what is that path. Go back and connect the dots in your life and consider where Beachbody has been woven into that. And what is it that you see in the world that you just have to take action on? It could be something health and fitness related. Definitely. That's a big part of mine as well. It could be something with women in finances, or women in feeling like there's not an opportunity for them, or women feeling alone or not connected, or like they have to give up their whole self when they become a mom, or whatever it is for you. It could be something around the globe. It could be something happening in your community. But when you really start thinking about it and figuring out, connecting those dots, your story becomes a different version of your story and a much more powerful version of your story. And then number 2,
I would just wanted to add really, like that totally speaks to me. And as I said in my Target office and everything, but, and I know I've talked to Jennifer about this before too. But it will make me emotional actually, but I've been told no for different things in my Target career, and there's never been reasoning or anything like that. And I don't know if I share that enough. And it's always a sticky thing to share on social media but really I've been finding a niche in helping Target women. But really it's more corporate probably. But holy cow, I started to lose weight obviously years ago. And you all have been such a vehicle to have dreams that I never even considered. So thank you for listening. So I know we have different stories, Rebecca, but it's just so crazy, how true everything you're saying. I didn't even know what you were going to talk about, but thank you. And it's so funny that topic I'm sharing with you is the only thing that I've ever even cried hard to my husband about in our 17 years of marriage. It's crazy. So that's my pain point, everybody.
And when we share that with other people, that's what people are connecting on, right? And even if you take it to pain points inside, just for your challenge groups, right? You can talk about your teams and your bigger piece, but when you talk about the pain points inside the people that you want to help inside your challenge groups, right? People that you want to get healthy or whatever, what are their actual pain points? It's not to lose weight. You can say, I want to lose weight, but what are their actual pain points? Well, you can get 100,000 workouts, and you can get this shake, and you can get nutrition programs, and you can get accountability, and no one gives a shit what they can get. They want to know how you're going to make them feel. So think about your own pain points. Think about your own story. I know it's hard to share that stuff because it makes us cry, it makes us emotional, it makes us vulnerable, but that's what people are connecting to. That's what people are connecting to. So when I think about coaching, that's my big pain point. That's my big like thing I want to solve, the thing I want to contribute to. And then when I think about the health aspect, it's a different pain point. It's a very real pain point. It's the pain point when I was pregnant with my first daughter and my dad was so excited. It was his first grandchild. And the first thing I thought was, if you don't make changes, you're never going to see her graduate high school. And like, to think that my dad would not be there for my kids growing up. Like that's all in his control. And to think, gosh, there's so many women, there's so many moms, there's so many grandparents, there's so many people out there that could use what we have. And really touching into what are the pain points? What are the pain points? What do you have to take action on? When you tap into those, whenever you're down, if you go read out what you have to solve, it's going to fire you up. Like I just want to go send like 80,000 invites right now, right? I'm just like, okay, moving on to number two. Number two, life vision. And this, when I read in the book about life vision, it was much more connected to me, I think it was more, I don't know, it just seemed more realistic to me. We hear, especially Julie, talk a lot about vision and having vision, and Holly Hilliard talk about vision and use vision board parties and what do you want your life to look like, and like beyond rank and all that kind of stuff. What is your ideal life? And being someone who's not a natural dreamer, thinking about that is very difficult for me. And in the book, he says to make a 3 year. So in 3 years, where do you want to be? Instead of thinking about your dream life, like my whole life, like really, like what? I don't know, right? That just stops me. I don't get inspiration from that. But he challenges you to think, have a in 3 years, what do you want your life to look like? Because humans overestimate the amount they can do in 6 months and underestimate the amount you can do in 3 years. Like that's some study thing that he referenced. So in other words, if in 6 months you overestimate, if this is where I want to be in 6 months, and you overestimate how much you can get done, and then you don't get there and you feel like you're a failure. But we underestimate how much we can get done in 3 years. So we set these goals out for 3 years, and then we actually make it much further than what we expected. And then that continues to give us the fuel to keep going. So thinking like 3 years out. These are the questions that in the book, Vision, suggests you think about. 3 years out, where do you want to see your company or movement or skill or project be in 3 years? If you don't exist, what would be missing in the world? And by you, I don't mean Beachbody. I mean you. If you didn't exist, if your company didn't exist, if your business didn't exist, if you as a human didn't exist, what would the world be missing 3 years from now? What problems are you here to solve? What milestones will you have accomplished 3 years out? And this is recorded, so you can go back and watch the recording. How is the world different because of you? In 3 years, how is the world different because of you? Who are your partners? Who are you surrounded with? What kind of people are you with 3 years from now? How do you want people to feel when they engage with your brand, with your company, with your business, with your team 3 years from now? And what groups have you impacted 3 years from now? So creating this vision 3 years, fast forwarding out 3 years for me, well, that felt much more inspirational. That felt much more doable than, where do you want your life to be? Like, I don't know where I want my life to be. I think I know where I want my life to be, but 3 years gives me some kind of deadline, but still space in there to grow. And when you have this space, when you have this 3 year vision, you can start being like, okay, this is where I want to be in 3 years. Now let's start working backwards from 3 years. Not this is where I want to be at the end of my life. Let's start working backward from there. Hopefully that time frame is a lot longer than 3 years for me. So giving yourself a 3 year space to think about, what do you want your life to be like? Who do you want to impact? How is the world going to be different? And when I started doing this, after I had figured out what the big, like, what do I have to do something about? What do I feel so called to do something about? It made me start connecting, like thinking about the women on our team that feel like, gosh, I finally have another option. I finally have another opportunity. The women that were able to leave situations where they didn't feel welcome, where they didn't feel connected, where they didn't feel appreciated. And they got to be part of this team that not only were they all three of those things, but they also found this self-care routine, this self-love routine, this way of helping themselves in their health that they never thought existed, that they never thought would exist for them. And then how does that translate into, how does that impact my family? What is my family doing 3 years from now? What vacations are we taking? What opportunities do we get to say yes to our girls because of this? What does my work week look like? What do my hobbies look like? What do I do for fun? So not just the vision for your business, but also the vision for your family, the vision for the people who this business impacts the most. What does your relationship look like? And while Josh was doing this on the call, somebody brought up the question, if you will, about imposter syndrome, like, in other words, self-doubt. Every time I start doing these vision things, I feel like, well, who am I to put that on my vision board? I stop myself because I think, oh, I don't deserve that. Or, gosh, that seems really unrealistic. Even just 3 years out, like, that's probably not going to happen for me. It never works out for me. And I have this imposter syndrome, like, I'm not going to, who am I? I don't have the experience to do that. Like, I'm not this person. And Josh just stopped and said, what if the dream self, like your dream vision, your 3-year out vision, is the real you, and the you right now is the imposter? What if the you right now is the one that's not living up to the real you, and you're allowing your whole life to be lived as someone else? And so that just got some people, yes, this is The Buddha and the Badass is the book, and Josh Coates is the training. Yeah. So anyways, I thought that was a really good perspective. I'd never heard anybody flip it around like that. It's always just, get out of your own way. And then it was thinking about it completely differently. Like, what if that version of you inside your heart that you don't talk about because you're afraid it's not you, is actually the real you? And you just keep covering it up with other people's expectations.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, you said the motivation hacks. There was life mission, life vision, and then did I miss the third?
Third one's coming up. Third one's coming up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay, I got too far. I was like, did I miss it?
No, third one, and this one hasn't. Maybe it's in the book. I'm sure it's somewhere in here in some aspect. But this was one that just came from the Josh Coates training, and the third one was urgency. It was like, okay, you can have all of the, like, when you're feeling down, go back to, what is that thing you have to impact? What is that thing that you have to change in the world? And go back to, what is your life going to look like in 3 years when you keep working, when you keep going, when you keep evolving, when you keep uncovering this real version of you, right? That's going to give you the fire. And then you have to take action. He calls it urgency, but it's another fancy way of saying take action. So you have to get real about what you should be doing now to get where you want to go. Not what you think you can do, but what you actually, he says you need to create goals based on where you want to be, not what you think you can do. So that's why he says it's important to have that 3-year goal out. Well, he didn't say 3 years. The book suggested 3 years, but to have a place you're going, a 3-year plan. So when you look at it from that way backwards, you can start looking at what you have to get done, not what, if you start goals from where you are, you think, well, I think I can maybe do that. No, if I want to get there, I have to get here. Like, I have to do this. So going at your goals backwards, not, instead of starting where you are, start where you want to be and work backwards. And Josh said multiple times, you're never going to know exactly how it's going to go. You're never going to be able to have a plan. You're not going to be able to know. Just try and learn as you go. Like that's the only thing you can do. No one has this all figured out. So just try, see what happens, see where you get to. And so he gave us an activity to do where he takes, to create urgency in his own business, he takes a month calendar and he puts somewhere in a margin the number of new clients that he wants that month. And he said, you can decide what you decide as a new client. Is a new client somebody who signs up for a free account, somebody who gets a day pass? I would leave out leads because those are unpredictable. You don't have control over them. But how many new clients do you want to get? Do you want to add to your team, your business, however you want to define it? It can be how many new coaches, how many new people who sign up with total solution packs, how many new people on nutrition subscriptions, how many people who just sign up for the free membership, bod memberships. Do all of those things count as customers, clients? You decide, what does that mean for you and your goals and where you are in your business. But you need a number of how many new customers you're going to be, how many new clients you're going to be serving in that month. And so he's like, okay, let's say we pick the number 10. So if we pick the number 10, and then at the end of every week, he, in Saturday or Sunday, depending on how you plan your days, weeks, he puts that number. So he's like, well, I have 4 weeks and 10 doesn't divide into 4. So we're going to overshoot it and put 3 on each one. So each week he has a goal to add 3 new customers to his team, to clients, to his business. Okay. He owns like a life coaching-ish business. So he has 3 on each one. And then every day in the calendar, he writes down the names of the people he's talking to. So then he can specifically see who he's talking to each day. And he's like, some weeks I'll get to Wednesday and be like, shoot, if I'm going to get 3 new people by the end of the week, I got to start talking to people because Monday and Tuesday are completely blank. So he's writing down people every single day in the boxes. He uses a giant calendar, like a desk calendar, of the people that he's talking to every single day. And then as they sign up to become a client of his, however he defines that, it could be signing up for a free webinar, it could be adding to his email list, it could be whatever. You get to decide what that means for you. He circles their name. And so his goal by the end of the week is to get 3 based on his numbers, 3 new clients every single week. So seeing it creates an urgency for him. Instead of getting to the end of the month and being like, oh crap, like I am way far behind on my goals, he gets to track it every single day. He gets to see it every single week visually in front of him. And then he also gets to track the people that he started talking to. So when he gets to the 3rd week, he can go back up to the 1st week. And sometimes he gets to circle names from the 1st week that come around towards the end of the month or whatever. So that's how he creates his action plan. That's how he tracks who he's talking about and what his urgency is. You can use any system you want. You can use the business activity tracker. You can use the tracker that you've created. You can use whatever. I loved his calendar method because I thought it was simple and to the point and really focused on the end goal instead of like all those little things like I got to post in my stories and like all this other stuff. But your end goal is the new people that you want to impact, the new lives that you want to impact. You get to choose how you define new customer, new client, new coach, new person connected to your business in some way. But if you're not creating a sense of urgency, a sense of action around this, you're going to get to the end of the month and be like, gosh, it didn't happen again. I don't know what happened. Actually, I didn't work, but nothing happened. The sky didn't fall. So I'm good. I'm just going to keep going. And that vision is just going to get more and more blurry in your head. So the 3 things that kept coming up when how do you stay motivated is the mission, your life mission, what you have to do something about, your vision, where you and your business and your life and your family want to be 3 years from now, and then creating some kind of action plan to create a sense of urgency around getting there. And that's it. Questions from anybody? Comments?
And that's it. Just like, that's it.
And that's it. And that's it.
Just
And now
like
your
mind
homework
blown
this
every
week-
6 words. And that's it.
That's it. And now your homework this week is to think about like actually giving yourself space to think about what do you actually care enough about to want to change in the world, to impact in the world. Where do you want to be in 3 years in your business, in your life? What are opportunities for your family? And then how are you creating a sense of urgency around it? If you're going to use a model like the calendar model, what does a new customer mean to you? What does a new client mean to you? What does it, call it whatever you want, connection, I don't care. The point is, you got to keep growing.
I really needed this today, so thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad it was helpful. I knew there was a reason it came up 3 different times in 3 different spaces this week. So
Me too, clearly. But yes, it was so good. Thank you. And I took lots of notes.
all right, well, that is what we're going to close with tonight, to give you a little sense of urgency for the week ahead, some thinking points for the week ahead. National Wake Up Call tomorrow is going to be around those promo codes. So tune in and listen to some of her advice on that. And we will do some kind of plan B, something in the thread for next Sunday. And hopefully we'll be able to share some other Spartan Nation big news this week.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Good night,
All right.
everyone.
Have a good night. Thank you.